You're listening to the Minutes on Growth podcast, the show that brings you mindfully curated insights into relationships, spirituality, personal development, and everything in between, with your host, Tannaz Hosseinpour. Hi, everyone. It's Tannaz Hosseinpour, and welcome to another episode of Minutes on Growth. Today, I have the lovely Dr. Melissa Crane with us, spiritual teacher, healer, guide, light worker, all of the above and more. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being on. And we were just speaking about how there are no such thing as coincidences. I was telling you that I've been thinking a lot about feminine, masculine energy. And then I was preparing for our talk today and I was like, wow, she's an expert in this field. So thank you for being on and for shedding some light on what masculine and feminine energy is and what the sacred union looks like. So if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can dive into all the good stuff.
Sure. Gosh, where to begin? I have been on this path of self-discovery and spiritual awakening for quite some time. And it intensified over the past year and a half, which really allowed me to dive deeper into what that even means when we talk about feminine and masculine and the balance of the two, because much of my life, I was a wrecking ball of swinging back and forth and completely out of balance, but still grateful for the whole path that led me to the here and now. And I was at one time serving the collective as a chiropractor, massage therapist, energy worker through and through. And I am now here showing up in a different way, willfully sharing the wisdom that I've gained through my life's experiences. And everything that I talk about is from my personal experience and my lens that I view life through. So I'm grateful to be here.
I love that. Was there ever a moment in your life that you judged your journey or questioned it, like questioned the shift that was happening?
Oh, yes. All the time. I mean, our minds will really get in the way sometimes because we want to have this logical explanation as to why things are happening. Why am I feeling this way? And I saw that a lot in my practice, when people wanted to know, why does this hurt? What is my diagnosis? What is wrong with me? And we don't live in a black and white world. Like, we are these multi-dimensional beings, and the expansiveness of what's going on is just so vast. And so, yes, going through my own journey, I was constantly being met with, am I going crazy? Is this even real, what I speak of? Because, we might not be able to see it in front of ourselves, but we know how we feel that it is real.
Exactly. So how did you allow yourself to transition through that resistance or through that confusion or through that questioning with ease and grace?
Well, it wasn't always with ease and grace, although that is what we strive to do. It was allowing myself to be exactly where I was at in any given day. And there were days that I couldn't get out of bed. There were days when I cried for things that have happened throughout my entire life journey, things that were so deep and so, I thought, well, they were buried. And there were days that I was angry and just wanting to have some kind of control of what is going on. Like, why do I feel like everything that was my life is no longer my life, nor is what I want to do anymore? And so it was this constant allowance of being gentle with myself and just allowing myself to be, and having that compassion and telling myself I'm safe and that all is well.
I love that. So a reminder that we're safe in this moment, even if it doesn't look the way we thought it should look.
Absolutely. A constant process of letting go, of just flow,
Mhm.
and we just keep going one step at a time, one breath at a time,
Mhm.
and in that deep knowing that we are protected.
Great reminder. The moment you said flow, I thought it being as one of the attributes of the feminine. So, the
Yes.
feminine energy. Can you tell us what it means? Um, what the feminine masculine energy means? Do we all have both? Just a little bit of, overview of it.
Sure. And it's a really, really expansive concept. But to put it simply, the feminine energy is the receiving, the stillness, the perhaps the darkness. If we think of the womb space, that space of receiving and the creating and the just being. And then the masculine is that outwardly expression, the driving force, the inspired action that we take, the doing. So the yin to the yang.
Beautiful. So, what happens when they're not balanced? How do we know that we're not balanced? How do we know if we're operating dominantly in our masculine or dominantly in our feminine? Is that an issue?
Yes, and it was a big issue leading up to this the whole lockdown and the whole COVID. I mean, we were really out of balance of constantly doing, go, 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 go. Don't even stop. Don't even put yourself at the top of the to-do list because we have to take care of this, that, and the other thing. And God forbid we take our time to fill our own cup or even experience joy. What's joy? I have no idea what joy is anymore. And I was saying to you earlier, I'm like, how I was a wrecking ball. I would just swing from one side of the spectrum to the other side of showing up daily and taking care of my to-dos. And then on the weekends of just, oh my gosh, just letting loose and just letting it all out. And then the cycle would just happen all over again the next week. And I think that many of us, it becomes almost normal, like this normal feeling of being so out of balance. And so then learning what balance truly feels like is a whole other process of just feeling in complete harmony and this excitement to want to work and giving ourselves the time then to recharge and going out there and being curious and exploring and having some fun. So yeah, I'll stop there
I
for
love
now.
that. I love that. And, I always think of the feminine and the masculine, especially when it comes to manifestation. And like, the feminine is the creative force of wanting to create, but there's no attraction without action. So literally the word is in there. So like that's the balance. I always tell people like create and take inspired action, like be and do. But it's so much easier said than done, especially in the world that we live in. Yes, we were in lockdown, but we're slowly getting out. And it's as if sometimes we forget that, hey, what was going on wasn't really working. How can we create that balance? What are some practical steps that we can take or practical things that we can do in our day-to-day life that allows us to balance the two?
I think it can start by just becoming present with our emotions and how we're feeling, setting a little bit of time aside for just ourselves and tapping into how are we feeling? What are our values? How do we want our life to look? How does that feel? And when we're clear once again on what that ideal life experience is for us, then we can start going in and making those necessary shifts to bring ourselves back into that centered alignment and flow. Because also, once we allow ourselves to do that and to truly honor ourself and see what we have is of value, and our time and our life is of value, and it's here for us, then the universe will start to do its magic and things will kind of work itself. Like there's that faith aspect where we don't have to figure it all out. It's just by putting that intention as this is what we want to create, a life in more alignment and harmony, then things will start to work out for us.
I love that. So putting aside some time every single day to really go within, see how you're feeling, which brings up this idea for me of, not everyone is comfortable with all their feelings. Also, because a lot of our feelings have been criticized and dismissed growing up, especially for men, when they get sad or they cry, like, man up, men don't cry, like, don't do this. And so they don't really know how to like get in tune with their emotions. And as girls as well, especially with toxic positivity of we should always be positive. So when we're angry or when we're sad or when we're hurt, there is self-judgment around that of, well, I shouldn't be feeling this way. So how can we shift that internal dialogue to one that is a little bit more compassionate and more accepting?
Oh gosh, everything that you just said, yes. Which is this whole discussion that we've had so far is how my book was birthed. And what helped me in my process was to imagine myself as a little girl, just a little kid. And if we can bring ourselves back to that little person, and as our thoughts arise and the things that we say to ourselves arise, if we can imagine, would we say that to a little person? Would we say that, it's not okay to cry? You have to do this. And it's like, no, 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 no. Everything that we're feeling is valid. And that's this part of the deconditioning and the return to balance where we have to allow ourselves, like, just be that ideal mother to ourselves, be that ideal father to ourselves, be our best friend, be our teacher. And what would we need? What would have we wanted to hear growing up to then allow ourselves to express and feel safe to express once again?
I love that. Such a powerful technique. Reminded me a little bit of mirror work and like speaking, using childhood photos during the mirror work practice. Very, very, very powerful. But another question that comes up is how can we validate our feelings and not get stuck in them at the same time? Because sometimes when we're in the state of validating, okay, my feeling is valid, my feeling of anger is valid, the inner critic kind of tries to like lure us into victimhood consciousness and keep us there for a prolonged amount of time instead of just allowing us to process the emotion and to like come out of it. So how can we navigate the two?
First of all, I think that we need to allow ourselves enough time and not put a time limit on it. If we can just go through our process at our own pace and not think like, oh, if this is taking too long, or the shoulds, I shouldn't be doing this, we have to let that go. And so sometimes the mirror work I love, and journaling too, and writing letters to ourselves, and just continuously forgiving ourselves for these experiences, because it might start to shift too of, from victim mentality to compassion. And we can see how these experiences and their emotions that came with them, they were all for us to evolve our soul, and they were all learning from it.
Beautiful. The darkness that we all experience throughout the day sometimes, and sometimes life quakes that happen that really shake everything up. Is there a unique way that you try to look at these moments in life that help you recognize that it's happening for you and not to you? In other words, is there a way that we can shift our experience of darkness?
Hmm, that's such a good question because the darkness can be scary because we can't see. And it's that fear of the unknown. But if we can remind ourselves that we are not alone and that everybody knows what that darkness is, although it may look different in your own reality, that feeling of fear is a collective feeling. And if we can continuously know that we are these divine beings of light, and that by going deeper down into the darkness and feeling those yucky things that we don't want to feel, it's only going to allow us to reach up to greater heights, to see things from a brand new perspective, and that we're going to grow and new, beautiful experiences are going to be brought into our reality. But it's as below and so above. And just always knowing that we are strong and that we are safe and that we can do it.
We can do it. How can we reach a point where we believe that? Because it's a very comforting feeling, and this is a beautiful feeling that I've been fortunate enough to cultivate over the years. This belief that source light, God, is always with me, and I'm certain that everything comes from the light. But it took me years and years and years to get to this point of certainty. How can we get to this point of recognizing that, hey, all that I seek of the world, I kind of have inside of me. I have all the tools to navigate through even the darkest days and to navigate through the lightness as well. But all that I seek is kind of inside of me. How can we get to that realization?
I wish there was an easy answer and a quick fix to that. I wish we could just be like, oh, I'm good. And I'm now I'm one with God and I'm great and I'll never have fear again. But that's not how it works. And I think that we could all, if we were to reflect back on times in our life, in those moments where we felt a lot of despair and times when we didn't know how we were going to make it through, we can go back and then we look and we're like, wow, we did. We did it. And I see now why I had to go through X, Y, or Z. If I had to go through this breakup or leave this job or this friendship went away or I had to move and all of these things. And then if we look back years later, I'm like, wow, look at where my life is now. And had those things not happened, we wouldn't be here. And so it's that constant knowing that life will go on and that our highest interest is at the heart of it. And the other thing, too, I just want to say is how important community is and that support that we need going through to hold us, to say, keep going, you're safe, talk, places to just allow yourself to talk and express and to just be and be held exactly where you are.
I love that. So, community and also reminding ourselves that we got through a lot in the past so we can do it again. So, using our past experiences as reminders of the strength that lies within us.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful. You mentioned thinking of your younger self and using that beautiful, powerful technique. If you could go back and tell your younger self something, and it could only be one sentence, like one reminder, what would it be?
You are not alone. And I love you.
Wow. Oh, I got goosebumps with that one. Thank you. And we are not alone. Sometimes it feels this way. And I think the lockdown really made a lot of people feel that way. But we can just remind everyone that there is a power, there is a light, there is a source that is always with you. I think it would transform so many people's lives.
Yeah. And sometimes, that journey back to our own heart, that's a journey. It's just, I don't have any other words for it. I mean, there were so many times throughout the lockdown when I just allowed myself to, I asked spirit, I'd be like, show me what I need to see. Allow me to feel what I need to feel. That's in my highest good. That's in my highest good to reach new heights and to grow. And one night I had all of my diaries out from, I was probably 12 until the age of 25. And I wrote in these diaries every day, and I found them and I read through each and every entry, and I was taken back. Oh my goodness. I I read about things that I had completely forgotten about. And I saw myself as this person who was just aching to be loved and to feel loved and to be validated. And I cried so many tears because I just wanted to hold my little girl and tell her, like, you're so strong. You're going to be okay. And that you are so special. And I realized that these patterns that we play out over and over again, it's like, it's all to bring us back into the light. It's like we got to go down to then come back up and to burst forth like this beautiful flower that we are.
Wow. I mean, I got teary eyed as you were saying that because I was thinking of my own journey and going through my own diaries. And that's exactly, I think, how I felt as well. And that's exactly what I wish someone would have said to me. Such a simple message, but it has such a profound impact on someone's life. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. That
Yeah.
was really, really beautiful. Right? So, oh wow, you've shared so much with us today. If you could leave us with one piece of advice or one piece of wisdom, what would it be?
That you are worthy of all of your dreams coming true, that your life and the experiences that you have had have given you such wisdom, such value, that you are pure gold, and that no one has the unique gift that only you can offer. Only you has the vibrational frequency of your heart that can be expressed out into this world, that your truth is important, is worthy of being heard, you are worthy of being seen, and anything is possible.
Yes, a million times to everything you just said. I want to save that part and put it as a reminder every single day as like my alarm, especially since you have such a soothing voice. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for that powerful reminder that anything is possible. Despite what the world is saying, everything is here for you to help you grow into who you're meant to be. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for that reminder.
Thank you.
How can our listeners find you and hear from you? Because again, I love your energy. Such a calming energy, people. Like I cannot describe it, but I'm sure anyone who's hearing this can feel it.
Oh, thank you so much. I have a website. It's drmelissacrane.com. I am on Instagram at melissa.a.crane. And I also host a plethora of rooms and co-mod rooms on the Clubhouse platform at M.A. Crane. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get it wrong, but everything's on Instagram. I would say go to Instagram and you'll see all my videos that I make and little musings that come through, and all the links are there.
Wonderful. Thank you so, so much, Melissa, for sharing your light, your wisdom, your insights with us. It's been an absolute pleasure having you. So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, it has been such an honor. Thank you so much for having me here.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, everyone, for listening. Speak soon. Thank you for joining us this week on Minutes on Growth. If you enjoyed today's episode, then make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now.